And I think we're live. Hey everybody, it's your casual keyboard guy. Let me fix my camera slightly. I gotta get a better camera. But hey guys, this is my first live video, so I'm not trying to do anything crazy on this video. Just pretty much testing out the sound and going to go over just some concepts of the key of E flat. So, just looking for some feedback. I want to start doing more live videos. So, hopefully, you guys can tune in, or if you don't catch the live, that you can, check it out on my videos. I'll probably chop it up, make some other videos, and just let me know how the live feed is. This is my way to kind of connect with you guys and also just, answer questions and, we could talk about music, kind of just picking my brain with the knowledge that I have. And, because I'm here to help. My channel is geared towards, helping you play like, grooves and helping you play like just popular music. But also, the thing about music is you want to learn some foundational things so that eventually you can learn on your own. So hopefully today's live can give you a little bit of insight on the key of E flat. So that's where we're going to be starting with today. So as you can see, I got all my fancy software ready. It took me a lot of time to kind of figure this stuff out, but I'm glad I did. So leave a comment in the chat, because I got the chat running on my phone, so I could kind of see what you guys are saying, if you are saying anything. So yeah, let's get into it. So key of E flat, right? So we talk about the key of E flat. Let's start with the scale. So the scale of E flat, you have, and I have the software on the screen so you can kind of follow along. So you got E flat, you got F, you got G, you got A flat, you got B flat, C, D, and then it, E flat repeats. So we call those, I guess, scale degrees. So E flat is the 1, F is the 2, G is the 3, A flat is the 4, B flat is the 5, C is the 6, 7 is D, and then we end on the E flat. So a lot of times when you're playing music or when I'm teaching songs, and I figure out that this particular song is in E flat, that's kind of how I learn the song, because I'll figure out what key it's in by just listening to it, and I'll find where the home base is. Usually the 1 is kind of how you figure out where the songs are. So like when you're trying to learn any song, always look for the 1. So if I figure out the song's in E flat, now I'm trying to figure out the chord structure. Like, is it doing like, a 1, 4, 5, which would be like a 1, A flat is the 4, then B flat is the 5. Is it doing like some type of 7-3-6? So, that's like a D to a G to a C. And this is all in the key of E flat. So, I'm just trying to figure out, where the chord changes are happening. And then once I figure out, okay, this is the 6, this is the 7, this is the 1, I could kind of structure the song. So let's look at this. So let's kind of study that a little bit. So we already learned the scale degrees. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 to end. So if we were trying to just play like, let's just say some chords. So let's do some basic chord concepts. So let's start from the bottom. So let's do E flat triad. So with chords, however many notes you're playing. So we playing an E flat major chord. We got E flat, we got G, and we got B flat. So if we're trying to play this major chord, we can play a major chord depending on how many notes are in the chord. So we got 1, 2, 3 notes. We could play it 3 different ways. So when you start with the root on the bottom, you got, I guess, the chord in root position. So then all you do is you take the chord and you put the note that's on the bottom, which is the E flat, on top. And now you got the same chord, because if you look at the screen, it still say E flat, but now you got E flat with G in the bass, or with G on the bottom. So this is first inversion. So you got G, B flat, and E flat on top, which is first inversion. So if we go again, because remember, like I said, if you have 3 notes in the chord, you can play it 3 different ways. So now you put the G on top, and then you got a whole nother chord. So you got the B flat, the E flat, and then the G on top, which is second inversion. So you can play however many chords you have in your hand, you can do that many inversions of that chord. So again, you got 3, so you can play 3 different inversions. So just to show you the concept, if I did like a E flat major 7 chord, now I have 4 notes in this chord, so I'm adding the 7, which is the D, and then now let me show you. Now I got 4 notes, means I can play the chord in 4 different inversions. So this is root. Now this is first, and that's the E flat on top. Now put the G on top, so switch the chord around. Now the G's on top. So now this is second inversion, and now we're gonna put the B flat on top. See, it's the same chord name. So like I said, depending on how many notes you play, so even if we did something crazy, if we did like an E flat major 9 chord, which is it's a hard stretch, now you got another note. So now you got 5 notes in the chord. So now you could do the same concept. Now you got the root right here, and now we're gonna do let me see. So with this chord is a little bit different because like you kind of already, you're going past the E flat. But if I did this, I would probably play this chord with 2 hands. But you could play it in 5. You know, it's the same concept. But now you just play it slightly different because now the E flat can't go past the F. So you can still put it in there. Now it's just a different inversion. So because it would be up there, which would kind of be weird. So that chord concept is a little different because like when you use 5 notes, it's kind of a little bit different with trying to play different inversions. So I would say 4 probably is the cap for if you wanted to look clean. But if you go into the 5th note, then it starts getting a little dicey. But anyway, so I just wanted to show you that, like, just when I'm playing chords, I tend to use different inversions just to make the song sound different. So if I'm playing a song and I got E flat right here, the next time around I'm gonna play it right here. Next time around I'll play it here, just to give you a different just type of feel for the music. So so let's go through a couple chords in each of the scale degrees. So remember I said this is the 1, so we already learned the E flat major chord. All right. So let's just go to the next scale degree, which is F. So it's F minor. So you got F, A flat, and C. And this is an F minor. This is the 2 of the E flat major scale. And again, you can play it in different inversions. You can put the F on top. Now you can put the A flat on top. So now you got 3 different ways to play the same chord. And a lot of times when you see people playing all this fancy stuff, they're using like simple chords just to build upon. So let's keep going. So you got G minor. This is the 3. And I'll show you something after I finish going through all the changes. I'm going to show you something. So you got G minor, G, B flat, and D. All right. And then you can also play this in 3 different inversions. B flat. So you got G, B flat, G, B flat, and D. And now we're going to put the G on top. And then we're going to put the B flat on top. So it's the same concept. I'm just doing a different chord. So you could basically use these same concepts on every chord. That's why you see guys being able to play in all keys and be able to do all this fancy stuff. They just know how to do these concepts in every key. And it's basically, once you learn the concept, then you basically can do pretty much whatever you want with music, because like it's like limitless. So now we on the 4. So the 4, you got A flat, C, and E flat. And again, use the inversions to switch it up. Let's keep going. B flat. So again, inversions. All right, let's keep going. Now the 6, C minor. So you got C, B, E flat, and G. Let's do the inversion. Another inversion. All right. So let's keep going. Now, the 7 is always a tricky chord because it's not distinctly it's distinctly a chord, but the 7 is used so many different ways, but traditionally I would say it would be almost like a diminished chord. All right? That's the easiest way to like land on the 7 chord if you're just teaching like, triads, which is like just a 3-note chord. That's what a triad is. So, you got D, F, and A flat. All right? And you can also do this in the same concept. Same concept. All right, so let me go back because I said I wanted to show you something. So each scale degree is a certain style of chord. So for instance, this is an E flat major chord on the 1. F is a minor chord on the 2. G is a minor chord on the 3. A flat is a major chord on the 4. B flat is a major chord on the 5. C is minor, is a minor chord on the 6, and then we got the diminished chord on the 7. So this is another concept that you're just learning when you're playing piano. Learning like you learn your scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then repeat, and then you can learn. Each scale degree has a color to it. So you got major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major. And then you kind of start learning because now you're hearing the song. Okay, are they playing a minor chord? Are they playing a major chord? Are they playing a diminished chord? And there's other chords that you can learn too, because I remember when I was kind of learning music, the guy was showing me like these techniques to how to try to get your fingers just to have muscle memory with certain chord changes. So if we look at the 1 chord, he would show me something like this. It was like what was it, major, and then it was minor, and then it was what was it? I think augmented. What was it? Let me see. No, what was it? No, what was it? It was major. I forget how he did it, but it was so cool. Let me see if I can remember this. Let me go to C real quick. It was like. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that's funny. I kind of remembered it because I had to go back to the beginning. C is like the bass chord. Everybody kind of starts with C, but so what it was is he did like a major chord, then he did a minor chord, and then he did a diminished chord, and then he went to a augmented chord. So it's kind of like you're playing all the styles of the basic chords in succession, and you just would go from key to key. So you'd be messed up. There we go. And now we in E flat, which is the key we're kind of studying right now. Sheesh. There we go. Man, even I haven't played it in so long, but I remember I used to like sit there and literally go, with both hands. What is that? There we go. So it was just like a nice technique because like when you do techniques like that, it just helps you to have muscle memory and literally like you'll be playing something and then you'll just pull chords out. They'll just snap out of your brain, and that's a lot of stuff that a lot of teachers don't teach you because it's like if I teach you how to do what I'm doing, then what you need me for? But I'm the type of person where my knowledge is freely given. My YouTube channel is free, really. I don't make much money. My YouTube channel, like, I make sense on my YouTube channel. Like, some videos I'll pour my heart into, and I'll look at the revenue, it'll be like 10 cents. So, hopefully you guys are enjoying the content because I do it for fun, but, it's nice to make a couple bucks off of it, but it is a lot of time that I put into these videos. But anyway, I'm a very sidetracked person, so let me get back to the lesson. So, so we start. So I was basically showing you how to go through the different scale degrees. So we got, like I said, 1 through 7, and then you repeat the 8, and then the style of the chord, which is major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. So that's kind of where we stopped at. So now it's like, well, okay, well, how do you make these chords sound nice? Like, how do you kind of put them together? So what happens is once you learn your triads, which is your 3-note chords, of the major scale, and then you kind of start adding 7 chords, 9 chords, 11 chords. It's like the chords kind of keep going. So once you learn like the basic, major chord, then you'll add like the 7, which is really nice, and then you'll add the 9. And it's like the chords just kind of keep, they call them extensions. So once you start learning extensions, it's kind of how you kind of start making these chords sound really nice. Because if I showed you like a simple progression, like let's say a 2-5-1. So in the 2-5-1, so you're in E flat. So 2-5-1 would be F minor to B flat, which is the 5. So F is the 2, B flat is the 5, and then E flat is the 1. This is like a standard chord changes for jazz. Like they always use 2-5-1s. So if I did it in the root position chords, it would sound like this. Right? So I'm using all root position. I'm using F minor. I'm doing B flat major, and then I'm doing E flat major, which is the 1. So 2-5-1. Now I can also do that in different inversions. So let's try it in a different inversion. So let me do the F minor up here. And then I'm going to do the B flat right here. And I'm going to do the E flat right here. So even with it sounds basic right now, but what I just showed you was how now I'm doing the F minor here, which is still the 2, but now instead of me jumping to like the B flat is right here already. So look at this. So this is the F minor, right? And then I got to play a B flat. So now my brain, because I know these inversions, I'm not going to jump to a different E flat, or B flat rather. I'm going to stay right here. The B flat is right here. And then what's the closest E flat? It's probably right here. So you see how I literally stay in that same zone. Because remember, I was like this first, bouncing around. Right? So now, even if I keep the F minor here, right? Where can I play the B flat at? It's right there. Real simple. And it's only because, like I said, you got to practice these concepts. I'm showing it to you, and it's easy for me. But, you got to take your time and practice this stuff, because this is how you build up your muscle memory with piano, and then it'll make it easier for you to learn chords. All right? So, again, got the 2. You got the 5, which is B flat, different inversion. And then let's see where we're going to do E flat at, which is the 1. Do we want to jump all the way down to here? No, we want to stay here. You see that? This is the same E flat chord that's right here, just a different inversion. Ain't that cool? So it's like I'm playing real simple concepts, but it just sounds nice, and it helps you to kind of open up your brain when you kind of keep it simple. Because a lot of people want to, you want to play like the fancy stuff, you want to do stuff like this, which people are like, oh man, that sounds great. I mean, but then it's like, but you don't understand the concept. So I can show you how to play stuff like that, but it's like how are you going to understand the basics of how that's derived, like how that chord change comes? So this is how it comes. So that same crazy chord progression I just played is the same thing right here. That's the basics of that chord progression. And I learned how to play that other progression because of me learning this progression. So let me show you this. So if you wanted to add a little bit of spice to the progression, we could do something like this. Because we could do the 7. Because remember I told you got chords and you got extensions. So now we're doing F minor 7. So we want to do F minor 7, and then if you did a B flat, because the 5 is like a dominant, so a lot of times for the 5 chord you can do like a dominant chord. So what that means is when you play the B flat, you're adding this note to make it a B flat 7 or a B flat 7 dominant chord. And usually the 5 chord is like your dominant chord, because it's like the one that's strongest pulling to the 1. So you got 5, 1. That's why we call it dominant, because it pulls you back to the 1. It's like a strong chord. All right. So let me show you that concept. So just to add a little bit to that 2-5-1. All right. So you got the F minor 7, and And now for just the purpose of showing you, I'm gonna jump to the B flat 7. All right. And then we're gonna jump to the E flat 7. So you got E flat 7. All right. So now if I was playing that same progression, I'm gonna do it one more time. All right. Now if I was playing that same progression with the concepts I'm showing you, where I'm not moving my hands too much, because now we know I know all the inversions. So how can I play that same progression but not have my hands jumping all over the piano, right? So this is so we're gonna start the F minor 7 here, and then I'm gonna do the B flat 7. You ready for this? Oh man, look how close that is. Instead of jumping all the way up here, it's literally right next to the F. Look, you really only changing 2 notes. And that's the beauty in music and chord progressions. Once you learn them, your fingers are not jumping all over the place, because anybody can go, you know. But isn't this easier? And then the next change, I'm gonna do an E flat major 7. So watch this. I'm literally gonna move only 2 notes. Ain't that crazy? So literally, I'm moving 2 notes each chord. Real easy, right? So, and that's what I mean with music. When you're dealing with learning music, just try to break it down to the bare minimum. I know you want to get into playing, like, you know, the fancy stuff, the big fat chords, and, you know, the nice licks and stuff. But when people skip the foundation of piano, this is where you get to a higher place, and then you wind up having all these roadblocks. So that's why I'm doing this first live today, and it's just conversation. So I'm about to check the chat to see if anybody said anything. All right, nobody said nothing. Okay, that's cool. So let's keep going. So we just learned the 2-5-1 chord. So another chord that I like is a 5-1-4 chord. So what's that? So a 5-1-4, and this chord is a little bit I would say not advanced, because it's like a simple progression. But what happens is you're taking the 5 chord. So let's look at the 5. So when you're doing a 5-1-4 in the key of E flat, it turns the 5 minor. So that's like, so I wanted to show you something a little bit like a little spicier. So it's a cool concept, because what happens is you're trying to get to this A flat, which is the 4. So now you're making the 5 minor, and then what you're doing is you're making the 1 a dominant chord, and then you're going to a 4 A flat, or the 4 major. So it's real cool. So it's like, you know, music concepts are really nice. So once you learn like different progressions and you start putting them together, that's basically how people make songs. It's like through progressions. So like that's one. So let me show you. Remember that we did this one, the 5 or the 2, 5, 1, and now we're gonna do 5, 1, 4. So let me show you that. So that's basically playing like a B flat minor 7. So I'm doing A flat, D flat, and F. And then look how easy this is. So I'm going to drop my thumb down to G and keep the same 2 right notes. Drop my thumb down to G. It's going to make that an E flat 7-9, which is, you know, an advanced chord, but don't worry about the advanced chords right now. I'm just showing you a concept. So you got E flat 9. So you got E flat in the bass, G, D flat, and F, right? And then we're going to go to this A flat major, but then we're going to just make it a little spicier, and I'm going to do the B flat, C, E flat, and G. Make that an A flat major 9. So it's real cool concept. All right. So let me show you that again. So you got, and then you drop your thumb, play E flat in the bass, and then you're going to play the A flat major 9 chord. Isn't that a pretty chord? And like I said, I'm showing you in one key, but you can literally do that in pretty much every single key. So if we go back to the 2-5-1, we in the key of E flat, right? So now let's just go to C, right? So now if we do a 2-5-1 in C, now we're not in this well, I don't have my software in D in C, I mean, but you can still see the concept. And if you look at my hands, I'm kind of doing the same movement where I'm only moving 2 notes. So what I'm basically saying is once you learn a progression in one key, you can do it in every key, you know. And like I said, you start off with learning the scale, and then you learn all the scale degrees, and then you basically can start building your chords off of the scale degrees. Because if we go back to the key E flat where we are, you know, every scale degree builds the chord. So the 1 is off the 1, 3, and the 5, right? So we go to the 2 chords off of the 2, the 4, and the 6. So these are all notes in the E scale. The G minor, which is the 3 scale degree, you got the 3 note, you got the 5, and you got the 7. So, you know, this is what I mean by slowing down, breaking down every little segment so that you can have a foundation to start building on. So this is the 4 chord. So you got A flat, which is the 4. You got the 6th, and then you got the 1. And then we go up to the 5 chord. You got the 5, you got the 7, and you got the 2. Then we go to the 6 chord. You got the 6 on the bottom, the 1, and the 3. So all the chords that you're playing is basically using the notes of the E flat major scale. So yeah, guys, so I didn't want to make this video too long because this is my first live video, but that's just the some simple concepts that you could kind of look at. And like I showed you the scale, which is it's an E flat scale, and then I showed you all the chord progressions on the scale. This is all the basic chords. Back down. And then I showed you a simple progression. I showed you a 2, 5, 1. And then I showed you a, what did I show you? 5-1-4. And this was a little bit spicier, but it's real nice. All right. And yeah, so just wanted to kind of go over a couple things with you guys. If you got any questions, I'm gonna probably be doing some more live breakdowns like this, where I'm just kind of going through basics of chords and showing you some changes. And if and I'm trying to build this live up to where, you know, you guys ask me questions that I can kind of help you out. And this live is going to be mostly for just chord concepts, music questions. You know, I'm not really here to kind of teach songs per se. It's just really for just like teaching, like understanding, helping you learn chords, helping you learn changes. If you got questions about a certain scale or a certain chord concept, that's basically what I want to kind of do in these live videos. So hopefully, you know, this video blessed your life. Hopefully you got a little bit understanding of the E flat major chords and scales. And you know, I'm probably going to stay in E flat for the next live as well, and I'm gonna show you some different chord changes that you can do, and then I'm gonna actually show you a nice groove that you can do in an E flat major. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. You know, Kasual Keyboard Guy signing off. Peace.